Thank you. Let's go back. Assembly Member Hall.
Thank you. And is the Mayor on the side of Londoners? And at the moment, at this point, I'm talking about Jewish Londoners. You stated on Monday, London must always be a place where people of all faiths and backgrounds can live side by side in safety and harmony. Absolutely right. Well, do you think Jewish people feel safe in London at the moment? I'm being told by so many people that they're even frightened of wearing a kippah. They won't wear the Star of David. They are terrified when they come into London because all they see are demonstrations, Palestinian flags, and then they hear chants like globalise the Intifada and put the Zios in the ground. Do you think those comments are anti-Semitic?
I think many Jewish people don't feel safe in London. Many Jewish people are feeling frightened. I welcome the clarity provided by the Commissioner this week, but also the review ordered by the Home Secretary from Lord Ken MacDonald at KC in relation to the current public order and hate crime legislation. I think the particular phrases she's used aren't just anti-Semitic. The clarity provided by the Commissioner confirms that they'll also be breaking the law and people will be arrested under the relevant public order legislation and the hate crime legislation if they use those chants.
Good. Well, it's about time, because for 2 years, Jewish residents have not felt safe. They have never felt more unsafe than they do now, especially after the atrocities of the weekend. I'll leave that now and we'll see how we go. But all I can say is their faith in you and their faith in coming into London has completely disappeared. Now, I'd like to go on to people that are victims of these rape gangs that I will keep going on, and I will continue, Mr. Mayor, until something happens about this. You've made previous assertions that London does not have the same type of grooming gangs as seen in Bradford, Manchester, Leeds, Sheffield, Newcastle, Middlesbrough, Blackpool, Keighley, Halifax, Huddersfield, Blackburn, Barrow, Nelson, Birmingham, Nottingham, Coventry, Leicester, Derby, Aylesbury, Ipswich, Chelmsford, High Wycombe, Peterborough, Barking, Bristol, Banbury, everywhere but in London. Are you sure that we do not have the same gangs like the rest of the country?
Chair, that's not quite what I've said. What I've said is echoing the words of the Commissioner now and the Assistant Commissioner, I think Matt Twist, on previous occasions. They've both explained that there are serious issues in relation to child sex exploitation. They've both explained that there are a variety of examples of children being exploited, including grooming. And they've both explained, and I've echoed, that I've asked them to make sure no stone is left unturned. So they're going back 15 years, as they've been asked to do by the National Inquiry, using the wide definition given by the inquiry, which includes, when more than one person grooms a young person, but also includes intrafamilial, peer-to-peer gangs. The particular focus of the police in the recent past, for obvious reasons, has been around county lines. And I think the Commissioner couldn't have been clearer when the member asked him a similar question at the last plenary.
The member will continue to ask questions because every day that goes by, other girls and sometimes boys are groomed. Every single day. I still don't think you realise the impact your being so rude to me just under a year ago had when you said, what does the member mean? What is she talking about? You knew damn well what I was talking about because it's been going on for years. You're the mayor of this great city. It's going on in London, and every day that goes by where we haven't got an inquiry in place, these girls and sometimes boys are suffering. And yet, if they look at your comments on it, you don't take it seriously enough. There should have been an inquiry put in place a long, long time ago. And you can look fed up with me asking if you like, but you better get used to it, because I will not stop until we've got an inquiry in place and these past cases are looked at and resolved and these girls get some form of closure.
Well, Chair, if I can be given a similar time to respond to that question slash speech. So I'd remind colleagues that when Alexis J undertook her inquiry and made a number of recommendations, not one of them was actioned by the previous government. In the meantime, victims and survivors were waiting for justice. I'm really pleased this government asked Dame Louise Casey to look into this matter. Dame Louise Casey recommended another national inquiry, I'm really pleased this new government has ordered that to happen, working with the NCA and others. I've been quite clear to the Met Police Service, we've got to make sure that victims and survivors receive justice, which is why I've asked them to go back 15 years, as the National Inquiry suggested, look at the wide definition provided by the inquiry to ensure no stone is left unturned, but also during my mayoralty, what's happened. I asked HMI to come in and look at the Met Police Service to make sure that they were treating children properly. We've got a child-first approach from the Met Police Service. There is a proper children's strategy. We've made sure tens of thousands of police officers and police staff have been retrained. We've invested in victim and survivors.
I was talking specifically on grooming gangs. You know full well we're on a clock, Mr Mayor. You know full well you just run it down, which is despicable since you just never want to come and answer questions properly. I'll leave it there because of my time. Thank you, Chair.
Assembly Member James Small-Edwards.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, Mr Mayor. On the subject of being on the side of Londoners, one way I think that we in the Labour group, and you've been on the side of particularly young Londoners, is by calling for the removal of the two-child benefit cap. With the government's removal of the two-child benefit cap, what assessment have you made of the impact that that will have on child poverty in London?
Well, it's worth reminding colleagues that it was a Conservative government who brought in this cap on those families with more than two children. According to experts and groups that work in this area, it's been the biggest driver of children entering poverty. I voted against this when I was going through the House of Commons in 2015, and I've been lobbying for a reversal of this policy. Some politicians from other parties have joined us in that lobbying as well. I'm really pleased that the government announced the cap to be lifted. Overnight must be a skiver to address this issue head on. Two-thirds of those children in poverty who don't receive any support in terms of universal credit and tax credits because they're more than two children, one of their parents is in work. So two-thirds are in work but in poverty. Another 14% have children below the age of 3 and can't work because of childcare issues. And the government's also bringing policies to support childcare. Good example of a Labour mayor working with a Labour government, getting a good outcome that will overnight address not just poverty but the life chances of young Londoners. A good example of being on the side of Londoners.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. And continuing on the issue of the two-child benefit cap, there are people, and I think you addressed this in your answer, some potentially in this chamber, who would say that children should be punished with poverty as a result of being born the third child of parents with low incomes. What would your response to that be?
Well, I think I'm embarrassed that there are public officials representing a city which, yes, is one of the 5th or 6th richest cities in the world, but also has deep ingrained poverty, biggest inequalities in terms of a region in the country, don't understand how poverty affects not just the individual child, but the family as well. We think that this change in government policy will benefit families to the tune of £50 a week. Imagine the difference that makes buying a decent birthday present, buying decent clothes that fit, eating properly, and so forth. And it's something I'm incredibly proud this Labour government's done.
Thank you. And finally, Mr Mayor, the government recently announced its new child poverty strategy. Have you done any assessment on what this might mean for London?
So we're working with experts across London to see the difference it'll make in London. The strategy in itself is, if you like, the North Star. The first part of that was the lifting of the cap on two-child benefit. There'll be other policies along the way that will support addressing the issue of child poverty. Breakfast clubs being one example, childcare being another example. We're keen to make sure those parents who have got childcare issues, the cost of childcare, have the ability to get childcare, but then the training to get the jobs that have been created in London. So there's a link with adult education as well. So we're working through the strategy, and we'll be lobbying the government for some of the policies required to implement the strategy as well.
Thank you, Mr Mayor.